given a chance to tell you guys my honest opinion of driving this car as a daily driver. 25 years ago, this car would have been immaculate. It would have been a really well-performing vehicle. But I do have to say, over 25 years, a car can get pretty tired pretty quickly. It does show signs that it does need a lot of work. It's just kind of how old cars go. If you don't have the money to be able to look after them and to fix whatever breaks, it does end up just becoming a tired vehicle. But the engine still sounds healthy and still responds as quick as ever. I did have this one detuned down to, I think it was 150 kilowatts, just so that was stable. And it's had a 3-port boost controller installed as well to be able to handle the boost that's being put through it. The old boost controller, I think, probably died or stopped working correctly. So having a new boost controller has definitely been a godsend. It now stably holds 10 psi of boost without overboosting or cutting fuel or cutting air. It is definitely a fun car to drive, don't get me wrong. I enjoy the zippiness of the TD04 with the all-wheel drive system that makes it feel like the car is on rails. I enjoy spooling it up and getting that turbo flutter that you get from a blow-off valve delete, and also just getting to experience what it's like to own a boxer engine. But the car definitely does need a few things, and it's gotten to a point where I don't think I can justify putting more money into it. For the most part, this car has served me well. I have had an amazing time getting to drive a turbocharged all-wheel drive vehicle. And I have had a few adventures. If you haven't seen my mountain run video that I put out with all the Subaru Fozzas and all that, then check the description below or on screen and you can watch one of my amazing adventures with this car. Right now, I'm about to give you guys a brief reminder of the beans that this car can output. Yeah, let's go. That's what a Subaru is all about. That takeoff always gets me. I'm gonna miss this car, honestly. To put it into perspective, today is a bittersweet day because we are actually getting rid of the Subaru. I have just bought my new daily and we're going to go and turn this one in. I am kind of not looking forward to it, but at the same time, I'm going to feel like a big weight is lifted because I'm getting into a car that has significantly less Ks, significantly less problems, and will just be a good grocery getter, potential hills car, and also a car that's just going to be very familiar and feel like an old friend to me. You guys are going to see it very soon, but what I can say is the Skyline definitely needs a lot more attention. I haven't posted on the channel in ages, so hopefully within the next few months I might be able to do some Skyline content again. But for now, let's just enjoy the drive and I will see you guys when we get there. So here it is. This is my 2022 Suzuki Swift Sport. This car has been an absolute blast to drive and to get reacquainted with. I had my previous Suzuki Swift middle of last year up until the end of last year, and that car was my first introduction into a hot hatch with the amount of performance and beans of a performance vehicle. That car was a inline-4 1.6 litre naturally aspirated vehicle. It had front wheel drive, full disc brakes all around, and a dual exhaust. I sold that car for the Subaru because I wanted a car that was much more punchy. I wanted to experience all-wheel drive more often, and having that turbo flutter was a real game changer. But unfortunately, times do change. My ideas for what I wanted definitely shifted in the time that I owned that car. While I did get to enjoy the Subaru, I'm just so relieved to be back in a Swift. These cars are so underrated. Like, the amount of reliability, the torque that it can output, and also the handling is one of the main drawing features of these cars. It just feels really good to drive, and I feel like even the turning circle is just phenomenal. I have no issues with these cars at all. It was bittersweet selling the old Suzuki Swift, but I did make a pact with myself that I would own one day. I just didn't think it'd be 8 months down the track that I'd hop back into a Swift platform again. But anyway, I'm gonna take you guys on a drive in the car, and we're gonna talk about some of the features. Anyway, let's get right into it. So this car comes with a 6-speed manual transmission, 1.4 litre inline 4 engine with a turbocharger, meaning it can output 104 kilowatts of power to the wheels. It feels absolutely smooth to drive, and also being a Swift, being a hatchback, it has much shorter gear ratio, so you could probably practically start the car and roll it in 2nd or even 3rd gear. I actually managed on a downhill to get the car moving forward in 6th gear because I accidentally forgot that this is a 6-speed transmission and reverse is actually 1 over from that. But if I drop it into 2nd, it literally throws, ooh, I will let this car through. There was a truck that had just tried to back right into me as I was going forward, taking up all the priority on the road. I'm going to do a U-turn because that really threw me back. You can do U-turns on a dime. I didn't even have to worry about doing a reverse and doing a 2-pointer. I just did it all in one shot. It is so punchy. Like, I am quite surprised. Like, being a smaller vehicle, obviously you weigh less, but having shorter gear ratios means there's more torque in the bottom end to get you moving quicker, and just giving it the beans is just so addicting. Almost as addicting as the Subaru with the turbo and the all-wheel drive. So it is still slightly different, but it still feels like home. The 2022 has updated styling. It does feel a bit more spacious. My only downside is the boot. The actual boot floor is kind of awkward. It's almost like they don't know how to fulfill a proper boot floor with a spare tire. My old Swift had a repair kit instead of a spare wheel, so the boot floor can be completely flat. Whereas this Swift comes with a full-size wheel in the back, so that way you can replace it straight away, and it even comes with tools as well, which is pretty convenient. I do feel like the boot could be adjusted and made a lot better. The red carbon stitch trim is a really good touch. It feels really like proper. For a car from the 2020s, it is really well put together. When you're driving and going above 80, you will be hearing the acoustics of the road. The tires will make a lot of noise because there isn't a lot of sound deadening in this car. Coming from a car that had a louder exhaust, I think I would much rather hear the pavement than hearing an exhaust drone. That probably will change at some point. If I do end up putting an exhaust on this car, I will have to eat my words, but for the most part, I am happy with the exhaust note, and it does sound nice. Like, even like giving it the beans, the engine has a really cool sound to it. The features I love about the ZC33S is that the center screen has so many different gauges that you can cycle through. For example, right now I've got it on fuel economy. You can see how much fuel you're roughly using, what your average is. Currently the average is 7.1, which is pretty good. The fuel range is like nearly 400. If I change it, you can see over the duration of the trip what your average fuel is. You even have a G-force and like inertia like gauge, so you can see how much your car floors back and forth. Like, it's really clever, like really well put. And you, of course, you have your turbo and torque, so you can see how much power you're outputting through each of the gears as well as while you're driving.
Can I go? Can I go?
Yep. Woo! Let's go. That's so good. About 8 years ago, when I was getting onto my license, if you had put a new car in front of me, I would have declined it because the styling just wasn't really appealing back then. And I was really drawn to all of the older rally and JDM cars that were on the market. Seeing a Nissan Skyline for the first time really made me want to buy one, and also seeing what was available back in the 2000s just was absolutely mental what people were doing with engineering back then. Now fast forward, some of these newer petrol cars are actually looking pretty good. This generation of Suzuki Swift is one of the best styled hatches that I've ever seen and now driven. And seeing a Ford Focus RS or seeing an i30N is becoming a lot more appealing to me now than it was when I was back as a kid. And I think it's just basically maturing and learning what feels fun and just not looking at the styling as a sense of driving experience. But obviously, when you do drive a car that feels mundane, slow, sluggish, and not fun, you will pick it up straight away. Lucky for me, the Suzuki Swift Sport isn't that. Every gear change, every turn feels absolutely planted. I have so much control and so much power output with this car. It would actually be dope to take this thing on a track. Doing some laps would actually be pretty fun. I don't think I'll give a full review on the car, at least just yet, because I'm still in my honeymoon phase. But the main thing is, this car is remarkable. People used to scoff at the Swift, thinking that it was just a grocery getter, learner car, something that you can just take to Starbucks and go get a pink drink and stuff like that. But honestly, the Swift is a lot of fun. It is a short gear ratio, turbocharged front wheel drive, little corner monster that will take you from A to B and through each curve in the road with absolute precision. I'm still yet to try the thing in a mountain environment or on a track, but when I do, you guys will be the first to see it, that's for sure. But anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.